Right, so welcome to part two of US19, looking at World War II. And we'd like to first start off with some pictures of actual photographs of the bombing at Pearl Harbor, because that's what we're going to talk about in part two. Look at this. Look at the destruction of this. Soldiers would have been down the bottom, or excuse me, sailors. So with the bombing of World War, or the Pearl Harbor bombing. All right, we'll come back and look at some more of those in just a bit. All right, let's continue our notes. Have your pencils ready? Let's go. We're going to be going fast. So Pearl Harbor. Let's get that capitalized going again. Pearl Harbor, and it's we're going to be looking at is its aftermath. What happens afterward? Aftermath. That's right. So on the morning of, you know this date, important date, December the 7th. 1941. That's right. The Navy of the Empire of, and you guys know this stuff, the Empire of Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. Navy or naval base at Pearl Harbor. And where is Pearl Harbor? It is in the state of Hawaii. Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Okay. So, December 7th, 1941. All right. Over. Just guess how many people died in it. Approximately 2,400 American were killed. Over 2,400 Americans were killed, and 1,178 more were, if you're not killed, you were probably wounded. That's right. All right, guess how many ships? All right, this is important. 21 battleships were destroyed. 21 ships. I'm messing something up here. Or wounded. And 21 ships were sunk. And 300 aircraft were destroyed. So this is a huge blow to our military. The Japanese attack took the United States officially into World War II. That's right. Officially into World War II. One of America's entries. I'm really kind of getting lost here. It'll be all right. One effect, that's what we're looking at. One effect of America's entry into the war was alarm about we'll be worried about a group of people in America. The loyalty, that's right, the loyalty of who might it be? Who are we worried about? What group of people? Japanese Americans. That's right. We're worried about Japanese Americans. Okay. So one effect of this entry into the war, we're worried about Japanese Americans. Now remember, we're not really focused on Pearl Harbor and everything that's happening over there. You saw, it was sunk and all that stuff. And now this is an impact inside the continental United States. So here we go. One impact was, all right, we're worried about Japanese Americans. We're worried that, they might be like terrorists. They might do some crazy stuff. So check this out. Write this number down right here. We will take 120,000 Japanese Americans, or this is how many lived in the United States. Excuse me. They lived in the U.S. That's not a huge amount, but that's enough to worry about. They have 120,000 1,000 Japanese Americans. Most of them on the, guess what coast would they be on? Be on the Atlantic coast or the Pacific coast? On the Pacific coast in California. Most of them on the Pacific coast. All right. Now, fears, this is what's going to cause us to do some good things and some bad, but fears of, what were we worried about? Spies, and we're also worried about sabotage. Fears of spies and sabotage led to, that's right, it's that word, prejudice, and sometimes violence. Sometimes violence, whether you like it or not. Against, who is this again? The Japanese Americans walking our streets. The Japanese Americans. All right. In the name of national security, Roosevelt ordered all people of, make sure I get this right here, of Japanese ancestry, to be, all right, moved from California and parts of Washington, Oregon, and Arizona to rule. This is the word you need to know. This is new to you, some of you guys. Internment camps. All right, we move to rule internment camps. Although most of the people in prison there in these, what's the word again? Or we'll put this, prison camps. In these prison camps were Japanese Americans. There were also small numbers, we also put in German Americans and Italian Americans imprisoned under the same law, as well as hundreds of Native Americans from Alaska. There you go. This is going to be one of the responses to the Japanese Pearl Harbor is the internment camps. Okay, let's continue this going. All right, so mobilization. We are now going to have to mobilize. All right, the word is after Pearl Harbor. Check this out. The number is 5 million men. Guess what they'll do? They volunteered. For, what do they volunteer for? All right. They volunteered for military service. All right. But more were needed to, so we're going to do, we're going to fight a, what type of war do you think it's going to be called? A total war. And get our entire country involved. The selective service system expanded the, this is the word you know, the draft. And 10 million more men, 10 million more men joined the ranks of the American Armed Forces. All right, so great was the need of the military, a Women's Auxiliary Army Corps was formed to fill non-combat positions, otherwise filled by men, freeing up the men for frontline duty. The men needed tanks, planes, ships, guns, bullets, and boots to equip the troops. The whole American industry was dedicated to, what were they dedicated to? Dedicated to supplying the, that's right, the military. more than 6 million workers in these plants, factories, and shipyards were women. Thank you, ladies. With the men who once did these jobs now fighting overseas, women filled the void, or the lack of men being here. That's right. Good job, ladies. Women volunteered. Thank you, ladies. Volunteered for this work even though they were only paid on the average 60% as much as men doing the same jobs. It was the hard work of people in the industrial might of the United States that helped America win World War II. All right, as time went on, the war industry needed more raw materials. We're going to need more raw materials. One way average Americans helped the war effort was through, this is a word you need to know, wartime conservation. Workers would carpool to work or ride bikes to save, what were they saving? Gasoline and oil. People participated in nationwide drives to collect scrap. What would they be collecting? Scrap metal. Or scrap iron, more particular. Tin, or some other things that they might collect. Or tin cans. What else do they collect here? Tin cans, some newspapers, rags, and even cooking oil. All right, to recycle and use in war production. Another way Americans conserved on the home front was through, mandatory government, this is the word you need to know, rationing systems. All right. Under this system, each household received a C book. Whoops. A C book, like a checkbook with coupons. All right, to be used when buying scarce items such as meat, sugar, and coffee. Gas rationing was also used to help save gasoline for the military use. All right, very good. Let's spend a little time. We'll go back here and let's look at a few of these things here. There's some of the Pearl Harbor. I would like for you guys to see. Let's go back to this real quick. The C books, just real quick. Oops, I can't spell, can I? C books. I really can't spell. I'm wasting your time. There we go. Search the web. Let's look at the images. C books from World War II. See if I can find one. There's none right here. None. Coupon books. Let's go with World War II C books. That'll get it for us. Let's see here. Okay, so here's some pictures here we're worth looking at. All right, so there's a plane. That's not the C books. Books wanted for our men in the camps. All right, where are the C books? Soldiers drawing. I can't find these C books. Anyways, all right, we'll stop right there. And let's check out our PowerPoint. Look at where we are. All right, when did it happen? Pearl Harbor, 2 December 1941. Why did the U.S. enter the war? Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Were the Japanese Americans taken? Where were they taken? Internment camps. And that's where we'll start. So internment camps. Check them out, internment camps. Very good. We're going to stop right